subscribe. You know, I don't care. Put something in. So yeah. Anyway,
I kicked the camera.
This Mickey Mouse production.
Give me more budget for tripods. There we go.
No budget. Let's go. What is up? I was going to say Instagram. YouTube.
Why are we on Instagram?
I don't know. Anyway, what is up, YouTube? Who am I? Oh yeah, I'm James from Robin Henry Watches.
You are James.
I'm being distracted by looking into there.
I am the husk formerly known as James.
Anyway, please like, comment, subscribe. I never say that in these videos.
And
everyone says it in their videos. I'm like, maybe that's why you got no subscribers and viewers. Maybe. Anyway, please like, comment, subscribe. Put something abusive in for like care, as long as you hit the like button. Right, what we're talking about today, because we've done like zero prep.
Well, we've done a little bit of prep. And,
I hope you have.
The prep is how blissfully painful the Rolex market is right now, which we've talked about in detail, but more importantly, we touched on how the market has affected us, or more accurately, how it hasn't affected us. But we have seen a trend lately that people are actually doing the smart thing now and lean towards vintage and non-hype.
Yeah, I would say there's more of that. Yeah, I mean, I never really deal in many hype pieces, so that's probably why I'm relatively unaffected. Like even the Rolex watches that I do go for are modern pieces, but not like crazy. Like for example, the GMT, which I just did.
GMT
that was a 2016, but the Black Blizzard, the discontinued one, got finished in 2018.
You talk to some people who don't even realise that there was an all black GMT Pepsi.
And also as well, you know, so that went for 13,500, which I know is way over the retail, but in comparison to Pepsi, root beer, it makes sense.
It's very palatable pricing, isn't it?
And they're not making anymore, so makes sense. Then the other bits I do like Submariners, you know, the no dates, but you know, like 2018 sort of models, and we got that 2015, which is stickered, but it's not a hype piece.
No.
And yeah, obviously.
In fact, Submariners are so like everywhere now. They aren't a hype piece. They're hard to get still, but they're not a hype piece.
They're not
at all.
super hard to get. I mean, I bought my first Submariner in 2015 myself, and I went to the local Rolex Mappin and Webb here in Guernsey, and they didn't have it, and that was in 2015. I had to wait probably 6 weeks till I got the call.
Yeah.
So.
And here it is in our store, still unstickered.
Yeah, I wish.
Joke, Mappin and Webb, it's not.
I think I paid. Oh no, I sold it long ago and at a loss.
Oh yeah, they know about that one.
They know about all of them because I've been very open about it. I never bought watches out there to flip. I made a profit on one, but you know it wasn't a deliberate flip. I wore that watch. It's not like I bought it and went, get me out of this.
I mean, it wasn't that well back then though.
No, it wasn't. I got a couple of grand on it. But that was after wearing it for a while. That was when the Pepsi first got released. But every other watch I had from there, Hulk, I didn't get my Daytona from them. I actually went to a Grey to get my Daytona. Because even then, I mean, Daytonas have been like that for 15, 20 years. You can't get them. I had to go to it. But even then, I paid UK RRP for a slightly older one that was unworn from a company called, I think it was the Watch Centre in London.
And let's be honest, the £2,000 you made, they've had back already 6 times over.
A lot
60
more.
times over.
I bought every single Rolex watch that there is, bar Pearl Masters from them.
Where are they now, James?
You're literally enclosed in them. No. So yeah, I mean, this week we finally got the Omega Constellation back, which was stunning. It's actually over there. It's waiting to be delivered to the lucky people. I had a ton of interest in that.
I wanted it.
I mean, literally, it went nuts. As soon as I literally posted one picture of it.
It's that dial that does it.
And I had a list of people that long. And thankfully, it was someone who has bought from us before. And it's going to someone who's going to love it. So that's really good. And yeah, I mean, it came out really well. Obviously, the yellow gold and that green strap was cool. And yeah, I think I'm going to buy some more vintage.
Well, it's the third decent vintage we've had through in a couple of months, with very quicker interest than some of, you know, the arguably hypey pieces.
I would say it makes sense at the moment, especially like in that price range, because I saw that Omega for £1,500, and I'm like, I know already I sold it too cheap. But vintage just makes a lot of sense, especially right now, because of I mean, like vintage Amiga, there's still a ton of value in. There are some dealers that massively overmark them and sell them in terrible condition, the names mentioned. But they still make, the fact that you can get, a decent Seamaster, grand, £1,500, a lot of it, the thing is with Amiga, is you've got to pay on the condition. That's what I'm saying, because there's some with I know some dealers massively oversell patina.
Yeah.
I don't mind it as long as it's nice patina. And the condition is everything, 100%. When you're talking 50s, 60s, even 70s, forget about box and papers. If it has them, yes, that's great, and you can pay a small premium for them. But otherwise, don't look at that. Don't compare to. I've been on the rant
especially on
before.
Amiga, right?
Just if you're looking at two watches, one got box and papers. If they're exactly the same condition, of course, get the one with box and papers. But otherwise, always buy on condition. So I think I'm going to get some more of those, some more Rolex, because obviously that one that we had was really popular and went out straight away, and I had a few people that wanted that. And you don't have to worry about the crazy fluctuations. And there's obviously, I guess you could say there's some hype Rolex pieces like Paul Newman Daytonas, and things like that. Or, there's certainly higher price. If you look at some of the stuff that Amsterdam Vintage Watches does, because they're in the 15,000 up. And this I've got nothing but respect for them. The quality. One thing with them, if you buy a watch from them, damn, the quality, it's the best.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Exactly. They've been checked beyond.
A lot, yeah. I mean, listen, I've sold to them before when I was just a collector. I've bought from them, I've sold to them. And listen, I've offered them watches before. They were like, no, because their standards are very high.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we'll get a few more and maybe, tip the balance a little bit in that favour. I'm not starting to buy Daytonas or new GMTs.
There's just so much history in vintage as well, which sounds like a ridiculous
well, listen,
statement on its own.
When I started this business, you remember me talking about it. I was like, ideally, that's all I wanted to do.
Yeah,
was vintage. And I was like, it wasn't the best place to start out for me, because at that time, vintage was still quite high at the time, but maybe just softened a little bit because of all the hype stuff going on.
It's really taken quite palatable prices and just softened them off a little bit.
And also I had to build a name for myself, and it was easier to do that through modern pieces because they generally are more popular. But as I found in Guernsey, there are a lot of vintage collectors, or at the very least people that are interested in vintage. So yeah,
especially somewhere like Amiga, they were never back then completely unobtainable like Rolex always made themselves out to be. They were workhorse watches. There's so much vintage out there across a wide breadth. You go look at Rolex, there are the same archetypes throughout, but Amiga it's like a lucky dip,
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. I was looking at, you can look at Amiga for a long time and still come across new stuff. I mean, you can with Rolex, but it's so
definitely harder. And when you find the rare ones, there's a premium.
Yeah. But, I think we'll definitely do some vintage. I mean, for me, I love vintage Rolex Datejusts because there's so much variety in there, whether it be Buckleys. I mean, I'd love to be buying Stellar dials, obviously day dates. But, they're a bit out of my price range now.
Yeah.
I'll just take out the dials and paint them, get Ariana to paint some, give us some yellow paint and then lacquer them.
Buy a few aftermarket dials and you sorted it.
Yeah, exactly.
Stick it in.
So yeah, I think we'll go in that direction. I think people are certainly steering away. There's certainly, I've seen other dealers talking about buy the dip.
But where is it? Where is the dip?
Well, no one knows. It's everybody says they know. It's I think the only thing that we can't. Actually, no, you can't say it for certainty, but I would be confident it will come back up. It's a bit like, obviously, right now the stock market is down, and I'm even looking at my pension, my investments. I mean, it's coming down. I'm just like,
pull out.
Nah, I'm just
pull out game week.
I'm buying cheap shares. It's fine. It will come back.
Yeah,
But I'm confident that will come back. I'm in that for the long term, so
exactly.
I don't need to hit the eject seat. But we've watched. I am quite confident that they're going to come back when China opens up. So I'm not here telling you to buy the dip. Who knows?
I think the important thing is it's not just about buying the dip. It's about enjoying the dip. It's time to refocus on what's important. There's been so much hype pressure for the last couple of years. Now's the time to really dip through all that vintage and non-hype, and you find something that you really like.
I touched on this point the other week about some dealers you join out to new dealers and whatnot. I mean, like I said, it doesn't affect me. But I, for one, couldn't care less if all the hype stuff completely stops and you can walk into a Rolex AD and buy the watch.
That one.
Great. I think that's good.
Yeah.
And guess what? Grey dealers were around before, and pre-owned dealers like myself. So, for example, if you want to buy a new Omega, let's say in Guernsey, you can come to me and I will sell it to you at below retail price. Unworn. Fact.
Yeah.
The only Omega that I would pay retail for is the Snoopy, and then I'd flip it.
Well, yeah. But
outside of that, you'd be a mug to go to an AD and pay full price. So, for example, you could also, before all this happened, I used to look at grey dealers and you'd look at Rolexes, like the Datejust and other things like, you'd be able to get it at 10, 15, 20% off.
Yeah.
I bought, in 2019, as near as this, my yellow gold GMT from our local dealer with a 10% discount. I paid 18,000 something for a yellow gold GMT. Oh my God.
It's wrong.
What
It's
are they,
so
what,
wrong.
what are they now? So listen, there'll still be money spent. There'll still be someone like me. It doesn't bother me. I'll still buy vintage watches and offer them to, great vintage watches and offer them to people. I'll still buy Omegas and be able to offer those at great value to people, because my advice is that don't pay retail on an Omega or other brands. For Rolex, try and get it from your dealer.
Yeah.
I'm here to try and get the best deal for people. Something like this, which we'll talk about.
God almighty.
Don't pay full price. Get it nearly half price.
It's nuts.
So yeah, I think opportunity, and hopefully the market keeps coming down.
Yeah.
There's still obviously the people that their whole business is flipping new Rolexes. Yeah, their days are probably numbered. But how into watches are they are, and if they're real entrepreneurs and really grinding in their business, they'll find a way to add value and thus make money.
Exactly. It's time to enjoy some vintage.
Or vintage.
Enjoy
right?
watch collecting.
You keep saying that, like we ain't got no vintage watches to sell.
I don't care, but it's the truth though, right?
Mm.
Like, now is the time to actually start enjoying watch collecting again, and not just be like,
I think
is
of
this going to depreciate?
I think of the
Fucking
5
buy it.
watches that I own personally, maybe 6. Half of them are vintage. That's got vintage Omega, a Turner, Tissot, my JLC. I don't want to say the name because
I'm looking forward to be the day Penis Breath is considered vintage.
Yeah.
How's that going to look?
Anyway, what else are we talking about, or is that it?
Well, I think you've kind of introduced the Hublot. It's like you've brought out the weird side piece now. Like you've brought the girlfriend to the party, but you haven't.
In our last video, we went like half the video was just talking about watches that we had for sale. You way overkilled that. Anyway, so we'll talk about it.
Whoa! Where did this attack come from?
It's not an attack; it's just an observation. But we still got loads. I don't know when
you
this
do
video's
want to
gonna
sell
come out.
things, eh?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I got kids to pay for, and obviously I don't want to get my crash one day.
Yeah, one day. Well, right, you've brought
So
your
this
ugly
is a
girlfriend
bit
to
of a
show us.
random one. I completely get a lot of the hate that Hublot get, but I have always been quite consistent in defending them to a certain level. I'm not defending their marketing practices. I'm not defending, the number of limited editions that they do, because it's a lot, but I guess that's just their marketing strategy, whether you like it or not. Personally, I don't. All these footballers that have their own, and basketball players that have their limited edition, that doesn't do anything for me at all. What I do think though, when Hublot bought out the Big Bang, obviously Jean-Claude Biver reinvented the company. He quite honestly said he was inspired by the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak. Okay, he used to work for them. He was selling that watch in the 70s.
He basically said he plagiarised it, although he plagiarised his own idea.
But what they did do, and Hublot did before that he turned up there, is they were the first company to popularise using rubber and gold, or whatever, and luxury materials in a luxury watch. They were the first ones to do that. And I'm sorry, but if you're going to be objective, the Royal Oak offshore took some inspiration from Hublot.
He said it himself.
That's the fact.
I'm picturing him like an angry guy from Hublot.
Yes,
in a black
this
suit.
is, took inspiration from that, but they took inspiration from this. And more importantly, Hublot as well was the first, for me, major Swiss brand which really was creating and exploring using different materials, the ceramics and all things like that, which now all of the brands have done, but they were the first to really go down that route.
That's because it's cheaper to sift through a scrap metal yard and just
I mean, now it's popularised. Like Oris, for example, are doing recycled dials from the ocean, and it's luxury. And listen, no beef for that. It's in a good vein. So
I mean, you could be the number 2 company in the world picking up apple skins and smashing them into a leather strap and calling it leather.
Of course you are, Cartier, and then not make it long enough for you to wear. Cheers, Cartier.
Well, there's only so many apple skins, aren't there?
So I think where they did get things wrong is they did invest heavily in their own in-house movement. So they got the Unico and whatnot. But obviously they started off with ETA movements and charged a fortune. And that's, for me, where they went a bit wrong in terms
ETA
of...
movements are reserved for, high-level homage pieces these days.
I like ETA movements. I think they're solid, easily serviceable. They're good. But, yeah...
Not in a £6,000.
I think they should have... Maybe at first, I know they had to bring in like maybe a third party movement, but they could have gone a little bit more high end. Anyway, that being said,
that would have been too disruptive.
They are disruptive. We have a brand new, unworn, like all of the plastic bits.
Loads of plastic.
How much plastic bits are there with it?
We're in a plastic-free world now. Can we just talk about it? It really upsets me. That cleaning cloth.
It's supposed to go inside here.
But there's literally a cutout, and it does not fit in the cutout.
It fits there.
That's stupid.
Anyway,
no, it's terrible.
So you got the full warranty. It's an open card, so you can stick your name on it and register it. Now, what's the retail price? If you looked at this
it's
today,
just over 10 grand.
It's 10.7.
12. Well, it depends who you talk to. Yeah.
What do you mean? It depends who you talk to. There's only one price. So what is it?
The RRP, yeah, is 10.7.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure. It's 12.3 Swiss francs.
Like we deal in Swiss francs.
Well, I was on the Hublot website.
So locally, the retail on this is 9 grand. Now, no one's selling Hublot anymore over here, so I'm your only option. But more importantly, if it's 9 grand retail locally, what's our price? I actually don't know because I haven't even looked at what you're listing.
Well, you kept changing it and you kept dropping it, so it's 6.9 now. 6.9.
So we're saving thousands.
Literally thousands.
Now, listen, you've handled this watch. You've looked at it a little bit today.
Yes.
At the very least, you have to say this: it's a well-made bit of kit.
Look, you heard me before. I like it. I just don't like Hublot.
Why not? Why then? You don't like it probably because it's popular not to like.
Yes, that's exactly it. But that's effective. I'm going to go full Christian from Theo and Harris here, but it's on them to market and create their brand and make me interested. Half of the reason I like Omega is I like their brand.
Listen,
I like the
if
way
it
they
was
do things.
if it was like a really good-looking woman, but it was just everyone was like, nah, she's not good-looking.
Mate,
you found her good-looking. So this is the 41mm version, and obviously I'm able to offer it thousands off list, which is why I'm doing so. But it's the more sensible one because if you have a slightly smaller wrist like me, it's wearable, and even if you have a larger wrist, it's also still wearable.
I do really like the strap on it. I'll give it that. I'm not usually a fan of rubber.
Their rubber straps are awesome.
I
had about probably 2 years back. I had the Fusion Classic in black chronograph, 42mm rubber strap, and I bought it specifically just because I wanted to like wear it for everything, gym, swimming, all of that sort of stuff. You got the chronograph. Listen, it's a really cool watch. You got the carbon fiber dial, ceramic bezel, steel, and the fusion, as they like to call it. I mean, I'm not a fan of display back, so I'm not going to go into it.
They've dolled it up a little bit, though.
To me, it's still a very basic workhorse movement.
Well,
but yeah, listen, I mean, it is what it is.
I've seen worse things through display backs.
I prefer the solid case back, like Rolex do, but I think it's awesome back for a summer watch.
And it's the deploying on it's really like crisp as well. It doesn't feel flimsy or anything. It's good. That's going nowhere.
Listen, beautiful.
Very nice. And easy to adjust as well. I really like that.
Yeah, they are. They're great watches for all day. And the other thing is, like, if you're going away, no one's exactly going to cut your arm off for it as well.
Because it's Hublot. It's unpopular to...
No, I'm just saying, like, I don't think this is a loud watch, like, massively.
No, but you're not going to wear that when you
I know
away.
some people would say, it's got a diamond bezel. It is, but am I going to the UK and Europe?
No.
I'm not going to wear a Rolex through London and in Europe. Fuck that. I had this, I think I've told you before, when that yellow gold GMT that I was saying about, and that was in 2019. I thought I was going to get robbed for it, and it came close to much.
Oh yeah, if you go out wearing yellow gold.
Yeah, but this was before it was all too hyped. But I'm never doing that again. No way.
Well, if nothing else, you just don't want to be walking around like constantly, like checking.
I wasn't bothered about the value because it's insured, but I just don't want to put myself or my family in that position.
No.
Obviously, over here, you don't really have to worry about it too much. Right. Anyway,
moving on. I'm bored of Hublot. It's cool. It's really cool for the price.
Thousands off list.
Just not.
You're
for me.
welcome. Also, as well, I'm looking at Omega boxes in there.
Yes.
The Seamaster 300. Beautiful watch for the summer. Hurry up. Do yourself a favour. Other than that, please like, comment, discuss your opinions on it. Agree, disagree. Comment, subscribe. I don't know how many times I can say it anymore. Like, comment, subscribe, hit all the buttons.
Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. We're just naming social media platforms at this point. Cool. Bye.
Ciao.